gearheads, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in, taking some time out of your day to supporting whatever it is I'm doing here, I guess. Today I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about a nice little upgrade I did to my project car over here, and I'm going to call it probably one of the better upgrades I did that cost me absolutely nothing. Free 99. Now, we're going to talk about the LT4 supercharger. If you're like me, which probably are, if you have a supercharger on your car, you'll love to hear the thing whine. You know, you go on the internet and you hear those Hellcats and they just whine up like crazy and it drives you nuts. You're like, man, I want my car to sound like that. So every time I hear one of these cars, I'm like, man, I need to get my supercharger sounding like that. Problem is, you know, my car is loud. I got I think Black Widow exhaust on the thing, so you can barely hear the supercharger whine. So I've been absolutely obsessed with trying to get just that crazy whine out of the supercharger and trying to hear it over the exhaust. And you know, you want everybody else to know that you got a supercharger, right? Otherwise, what's the point? So anyways, researching on the internet, biggest modification that you come across is one of two things. One, you take off the dampening plate, which is, I think, a 16th inch steel plate. Come on, that's not doing anything. I mean, GM put it in there to dampen the sound, but you take it off, it did absolutely nothing. The guys that claim it does stuff, like, I don't think it did anything at all. Maybe if you have a bone stock exhaust and it helps a little bit, but if you got a modified exhaust, you got a modified engine with a little ka-ka-ka-ka-ka, you're not hearing anything with that. So next thing they suggest to do is get a lid. That's all fine and dandy if you feel like spending $1,000 on a chunk of aluminum they claim gives you, you know, 4 or 5 horsepower, and then, you know, your engine doesn't really look original after that. So I decided that maybe it was time I did, I don't know, some modifications to my lid, because why not? I got it, and you know, it costs me time. And that's it. Free 99. It's the best price ever. So, all I did was, I thought in my head, there is a raised piece of aluminum in these lids right here. And I said, well, if I can shave some of this aluminum down, I went and kind of measured it just to make sure I wasn't going to go through the other side, because that wouldn't have been good either. But this raised piece of aluminum that's probably about 1/8 of an inch off when I started. I took some grinding discs, just some regular stuff. I'll go through everything I used after. But I took off the dampening plate, didn't do anything. And then I decided that, okay, I'm gonna file this, I'm gonna shave all this down. So what I did was, I shaved down the sides, because all these aftermarket lids have airfoils right in the middle, right? So they want to divide the air so it goes into each bank like better and more efficiently. So I kind of wanted to copy their idea, because, you know, if that's what they're doing and researching, why not? So I don't have enough material here to do that. So what I did was, I shaved it down quite a bit so we have more sound going through the lid, in theory. I'm not a NASA rocket scientist or anything, but, and then the sides that were raised, I basically just smoothed them right out so they had a nice transition. So it's kind of like an airfoil, but on a much smaller scale. Anyways, kind of does the same job. Next, all these fins that I guess were casting supports, I got rid of those. We chopped those right out, and then I think they're on both sides. Now, for some reason, I don't know why GM made these things. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4 fins on this side, 1, 2, 3 fins on that side. So an uneven amount of fins, and in different places. I don't know. So anyways, in my head, I was kind of looking at this thing. This is the top facing forward. This is the back. You know, there's supports that come down from here to there. And if you really think about it, the air is hitting the top, and it's got to turn and go down. Well, right now, you have these things that baffle air, and you have these things that baffle air, and then you have these things that baffle air. All the aftermarket designs don't have this in their lid. So I said, you know, I got time to do it. cut them out. Why not? So I cut everything out, and then I kind of smoothed it all down. I have a bunch of different sanding discs for my grinder. If you got an hour, I think it's worth it. Why not? Doesn't cost anything, costs your time. And I found that the sound got much better. I went for a ride after, and I would have to say the sound was a significant difference. And here's the funny part. I picked up a half a pound of boost. So was it worth it for me? Absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to take my car to a dyno just to prove to the world that I picked up, you know, just on the other side of half a pound of boost. But I mean, I got a boost gauge. I got a digital boost gauge. I seen the numbers. I know what I always run, and it was a little higher. So what this did, I don't know, maybe because I polished it down, it made it more efficient. You know, anybody who takes these lids off knows that it's a completely rough cast, and you know, roughness makes friction, friction makes heat. So maybe by polishing the top of the lid, you make some kind of efficiency inside the supercharger. I can't say, but this is just my findings from what I did. And yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, this is all I use. This is an aluminum sanding disc blade for a grinder. Use that just to take down some of the bigger stuff. I got my aluminum die grinder bit, and then I used this wire wheel to literally just take off all the roughness. And then after that, I just use I think it was like a 200 grit sandpaper just to smooth it down, give it a nice smooth finish, and that's it. Like 40 minutes into this, this is what it looks like. If you go on the internet and you look up aftermarket lids, this is what they look like, minus the airfoil in the middle. So, I mean, have at it, guys. Why not? What's it hurting? I think it helped. You'd have to find out for yourselves. If you guys have easy access to a dyno, have at it. But I mean, you know, I think it made a difference and saves a pile of money. So that's what I wanted to share today, my little tech tip, and I hope it helps. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. And I'll have some more videos up shortly. Thanks.